Kenya, Uganda, Rwanda, the Democratic Republic of Congo and Burundi have agreed to establish and urgently deploy to the DRC a regional security force to counter rebel insurgency in the east of the country.
The agreement follows a meeting in Nairobi of the heads of states of said countries called to seek a lasting solution to the security challenges in eastern DRC, where armed groups have for years caused untold suffering to the civilians. Last month, military authorities blamed one of the rebel groups, M23, for downing a United Nations helicopter, killing 8 peacekeepers. Thursday's meeting also directed DRC's president, Felix Tshisekedi, to hold a consultative meeting in Nairobi on Friday with representatives of the various armed groups in the country. The DRC has reportedly accused Rwanda of supporting M23 rebels, an allegation that Rwanda denies. The Nairobi summit also ordered all foreign armed groups inside the DRC to disarm and return unconditionally and immediately to their respective countries of origin. Rwanda's President Paul Kagame did not attend the meeting. He was instead represented by Foreign Affairs Minister Dr. Vincent Biruta.
Well, for more on this, we're now joined by Dr. Mustafa Yusuf Ali, who's Horn of Africa Region Specialist. Thank you so much indeed for joining us. Always good to talk to you. So the East African community has one more member, and one of the first acts is to deploy the security force to the DRC. I suppose this is perhaps why it was beneficial for DRC to get involved.
Absolutely, and thank you for having me this evening. The Democratic Republic of Congo recently officially joined the East African community, and bringing with it about 100 million people, so swelling the East African community population from 200 million to 300 million. What is important here now is the challenges that are there in the DRC becomes the challenges for the East African community. And this is why President Uhuru Kenyatta invited the leaders to come to Nairobi so that they can discuss these issues frankly in order to try and resolve them as soon as possible.
Should we read into it at all, or read anything that President Kagame wasn't there?
I don't think so. He did send the Foreign Affairs Minister to be a part of this meeting, and I would like to see this as the first of the many meetings that will come. Remember, to me, the Democratic Republic of Congo has been destabilized for decades. The United Nations has failed to stabilize that country. The Western contribution to addressing challenges in DRC have not yielded the results that many expected. And so what President Uhuru Kenyatta and the other leaders in East African community, upon admitting DR Congo into the East African community, attempting to restart, to kickstart discussions, negotiations, and also bringing some of these rebels onto the table in order for them to see that they are part or will be part of the success of the East African community. And so I want to believe that even though Rwanda has been mentioned severally and accused of supporting particularly the M23 rebel group, that they would like to see a change in the way conflict in the DR Congo is actually addressed. The second point here to me is there are more than 100 militia groups in the Democratic Republic of Congo, the eastern parts of the DRC, and M23 is just one of those groups. And so it is going to be a very long and arduous process to try and bring back DR Congo from instability to stability and eventually address its security challenges.
Yeah, DRC, as you said, long history of instability, even war. When I think about the players that took part in the first Congo War, many of these are now sitting together across a table trying to sort things out. I mean, can we realistically expect that the past is left behind and that this is a new day?
I think so, yeah. Those countries that fought in the first DR Congo war coming together now and are looking into each other's eyes and say it is in the benefit of the DR Congo and the neighboring countries to have peaceful, stable DR Congo. And all of us in the region, including in SADC countries, the Southern African countries, stand to benefit a great deal from a peaceful and stable Democratic Republic of Congo. It is one of the richest in terms of high-value minerals, land, water, the potential to generate electricity in the DR Congo can power the entire Africa, besides the rich farmlands feeding the entire Africa. So really, the Africa Union, the countries in Africa should do a lot more to bring peace in the DR Congo.
What do you think that this force, this joint force can do in the DRC, where many others have failed in the past?
The good thing is this force is very organic. It's African-led, it's East African-led, and trying to deal with those challenges. There's that ownership by the leaders in the East African community and the other neighboring regions to try and deal with this issue once and for all. I don't think that it's going to be a short-term fix, or is going to take a few months or even years it's going to take years to fix DR Congo. But the journey begins now where DR Congo has joined the East African community.
So will this become a localized regional solution? The MONUSCOs of this world and other international players, what happens?
I think it will complement, it will supplement the MONUSCO, what the UN has been doing. The challenge is that UN has been in the DR Congo for a very long time with very little to show for a peaceful a resolution or even just enforcing peace in areas that has been pacified. They keep on slipping back into conflict. And I would like to see, and many are seeing, the latest efforts to try and resolve that conflict as part of contributing to what the MONUSCO has been doing over the years.
Tell us a little bit more about who are these actors on the ground, these insurgents, because if they're anything like the ones we're seeing in the Sahel, it will take an enormous effort to try and deal with this. And in the Sahel, they're a bit more organized, it seems. There seem to be perhaps fewer groups that are bigger, whereas you have many, many different groups in the east of the DRC. Does that make the job harder? What can be done?
It does. The fact that there are many, many more armed groups, 100 plus militia groups that are armed to the teeth, makes it much harder for the DR Congo to resolve the issues than, for example, we've seen in the Sahel. Sahel has fewer groups, and even those few groups have created a lot of trouble, insecurity, and rendered the place unstable for decades. In the DR Congo, what we are seeing now is an escalation with groups such as the ADF, the Allied Democratic Forces, which originated from Uganda, being joined or pledging allegiance to Daesh, the so-called Islamic State. DR Congo has become a conduit or a transit point for terrorist groups and violent extremists that are going to Cabo Delgado in Mozambique. So you can see DR Congo is right at the center of the disturbances in the entire region, so not just the DRC. And that makes it a lot harder for the leaders in this region, and it requires a concerted effort from now, not just leaders in the East African community. It will require more efforts from leaders from the SADC countries, including South Africa, to try and prevent this escalation from getting out of hand.
All right. Are you optimistic that this is a new chapter and that the EAC force can do something?
I'm cautious. I think it is a good thing that the leaders in the region are now moving in more robustly. The international community will need to do a lot more in two ways. One, to desist from interfering with that conflict, preventing those companies from the Western countries from sponsoring some of those rebel groups to control or to protect their spheres of influence within DR Congo, the mines, the Western countries, and some in Eastern Europe and perhaps Middle East will need to stop the supply of arms to the rebel groups if we are to make headway. And the second bit, that the Western countries, the international community will need to increase support to the DR Congo, to the regional efforts to address peace and insecurity in the region. If they are going to do that, then we can move faster in stabilizing the DR Congo. Then we can speak confidently that we can see light at the end of the tunnel in DR Congo, stabilizing and becoming peaceful.
All right, well, let's put our hands together in prayer and hope that this troubled region finally enjoys some peace, and that this coming together of the East African community can be a conduit to that. Thank you so much indeed. Your insights always greatly appreciated, Dr. Mustafa Yusuf Ali.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.